colossal, it's stupendous, it's conspicuously incredible. Hurry, step right up. Hey, Sonny, you want to give it a try?
Hello everyone, and welcome back to Conspicuously Incredible Gaming. I'm your host, Mike. So I've alluded to a new project that I was thinking of, and so this is it. This is going to be the actual official announcement of the project, even though it's been in the Discord for about a week, and I just talked about it on the last game stream that I just did earlier. I will be finishing up Monster Bash eventually, but I want to get this out there and start getting the ball rolling. So let's just go ahead and close this and get right on to it. So while I'm here, I'm going to try to fix this chat and everything too, because that's been one of the big problems that I've been noticing the last couple of days. So let's see, first of all, I want to get at least a notepad or some kind of something going. I'm probably just, nah, that's not even it. I just need just a notepad application right now. So basically, the gist of this project is that I'm going to be, with your help, I'm going to be making a brand new game. I figure why not. I wanted to try to make a game, and I might make some more later on in the future on my own, but this will help me get along with finding the assets, getting people's input. It'll also help grow the channel. I mean, I don't know if people call that a cheap shot or a genius move, but, you know, I mean, everybody wants to grow their brand and grow their channel, right? So what I'm planning on doing is crowdsourcing nearly every aspect of this game, with the exception of, well, even the programming to some extent. Like, I'll be doing some of the programming while I'm actually live on the stream. And if I get stuck in a place or whatever, I'll be asking for help, and people will probably chime in that way. So I cannot seem to find a... This thing should have a notepad application. I switched, when I bought this laptop a couple months ago, it had Windows 10, and I've been used to Windows 7. I could just download Notepad++. But I need, no, this thing has a notepad. I know it does. More apps. That's it right there. So I know it had a notepad application. I probably... No, I think I can... Yeah. Alright, I'm not just stuck with, I'm not just stuck with regular text. That's right, so... Alright, so let me move this over here. Add a new source. Display window capture. Notepad. No, not Explorer. Notepad. Alright. So I'm gonna have to go bigger on on the fonts. Nope, that's gonna be... You're really gonna have to go 36? Yes, we are. Holy hell. Well, we'll go 48. Alright. And so, let's see. Right now, these are basically the main things that have to be done. A genre, and I'm probably going to misspell all this to crap. A genre needs to be established. So basically, what are we doing? Are we doing platformer? Let's see. RPG. Let's see. Platformer RPG. Beat 'em up. Let's see. Ah, crap. Are we going to do some kind of arcade type puzzle type, could even try to make a game show type. So basically, this will basically just run on for a while until, I'll just put other there. So then, basically we have to, figure out what we're gonna do as far as, this would be like a style. Come on now, I don't need that. So like a this touch mouse here is getting all crazy. So we need a style, or what's the word I'm thinking of? Like an aesthetic. Essentially, I'm looking for, are we gonna go sci-fi, fantasy, like, are we gonna do a period piece? This would then have to be pretty much non-fiction. That'd be a more serious. That would really include a lot of people getting in and researching and knowing history, which is going to be a whole facet of work that I mean, we can attempt to undertake, but it's going to take quite a bit if we're going to actually be on point with the historical aspect of the game. And Lone Killer 57 says, "What's good?" Not much, man. Just sitting around enjoying my Thanksgiving, even though I'm still in the truck. Trying to announce this new game project that I'm working on. I'm basically outsourcing most of the assets and stuff to all the viewers. Basically, it'll be like our game. And so what I want to do is basically make something that's the community's with everybody's help. And one, it'll help grow the brand. Two, it'll help include everybody in as far as what I'm doing a little bit more, which a lot of people tend to like. And three, it'll help me get my foot in the door as far as programming and stuff like that, so that if and when I do decide to make my own games later on in the future, I know I'll have a little bit more of an idea of where to go and where to start and how to do this, because I have a few different ideas of my own. So, see, getting back to this, sci-fi, fantasy, period piece. Are we gonna do like steampunk? We could attempt to do anime, or any of these styles could really be in anime, but let's see, if we want to go like I don't know, more of a kiddie type thing. I mean, I want to kind of have that, set up at least anyway. So, after the style and aesthetic, we're going to be working on general plot of the story. I mean, since we kind of know what it is we're doing and kind of where it is where it's taking place, we need to work on what actually is happening. So we have the what in number 1, we have the when in number 2, and we have the how in number 3. So basically, general plot. It's going to be more of an overall type deal. We're looking really just what starts. Well, basically, what is the conflict? How the conflict started. Things like, are we in the middle of the conflict, or which this will basically be, I guess, in the B category. So that's more like a small one, something like that. Are we in the middle of the conflict, or does it start with the main character or characters? So then, yeah, I noticed I got one more earlier, 100 subscribers. I'm not going to count it just yet, just in case somebody decides to leave. I hope not, but, you know how there's always the up and the down and up and the down, and, I'm thinking probably at about 110, I'll clap hands and call it. So, I mean, basically, with the general plot, we're looking at what the conflict is, how the conflict started, with, basically the question, are we in the middle of the conflict? Does it start with us? Are we just picking it up in the middle? So, C, basically, who is involved? Now, I'm not talking about characters specifically. I'm only looking for, like, groups of people, group or groups. Like I said, what's What's the reason for being in the conflict? Ah, come on, fingers. F-L-I-C-T. What's the reason, yeah, for being in the conflict? F-L-I-C-T. Yeah, plans for resolving the conflict. Ultimately, you know, what are the fate of the parties involved? Um, Basically, crap. I gotta disable this thing too, this mouse pad. So ultimately, what is the fate of the parties involved? And carry on after. So basically, how does everything end up after the conflict? So, you know, then we got to work on. Well, I guess you'd have to establish characters next. I mean, that would be. So, because, well, this is, I mean, it's kind of going to go back and forth a little bit. I mean, you know why I probably should add that later as far as. No, we probably should do specific plot, actually. Well, of course it does involve characters. Let's see, and I probably will have to combine them two, actually. Yeah, I've been meaning to try to get that resolved. This is the third time I've gone live, and I can't seem to figure out what happened with the chat. So I guess while I'm here, and we're actually thinking about and looking at that. Let's see, because there was also let's see, window, media source, browser source, that was it. I saw earlier, there was something in here about, different widgets and stuff like that, and there was the one in here where it was specifically the chat box. There it is. Oh, what the hell, really? Download now. Streamlabs chat box. Create your own chat box using a custom name. Well, I'm going to have to look at that later on. How you like that? Alright, no, this was supposed to be dashboard. Oh, it's a chat bot, not a chat box. That would help. Chat box. Copy. Background, margin, overflow. So we'll try this to this. Wherever that went. That's probably not helping at all either there. Yeah, I have no clue what happened to the chat box as far as it was there and then it wasn't. And that's, yeah, that's not it either. Just played around with something else earlier. It's just the thing, when you get used to having it there and then it's not there, it really starts to bother some people. It's bothering me, actually. Edit your stream title. Let's see. All chat. Refresh the chat. Like, it just doesn't make any sense. It worked. Chatter. Source. Yeah, I don't understand that. If I would... That's why. Alright. Let's see, did this work? Perhaps. Yep. I know what I did. Now I just gotta fix that again. Remember I played originally Crash Bandicoot on PS1 beating... Probably, yeah, I do remember that. So now I just gotta change the widget again. I finally realized I know what I did now, so... Come on now. There it is. I had the, when I went to HTML, CSS, I had enable custom code on. And so it overrode all of the all the other stuff in it. So there, that's fixed now. Why did I start the stream again? Well, because this is a different stream entirely. I'm not playing a game on this one. I'm actually starting the workings up and making the announcement that to make our own game. Basically, I'm going to crowdsource all the assets and all the stuff in it. Sprites, story, sound effects, music, all that stuff. I'll be the one kind of programming it and putting it together. But as far as all that goes, most of the actual meat of it is going to be help from you guys. And I'll put in stuff too. But basically, I just want to see if we can do this, see what comes of it, see, you know, might be a nice little gimmick for the channel, and it might be a nice little thing everybody want to participate in and stuff like that. So let's see, when did I do my first video? April of 17, I think, sometime. The first game I ever played was Cosmonaut. Basically, it was well, a lot of people know it as Sky Roads, but basically you just drive this car and you jump on the platforms and you keep from falling in the holes, and you go into the bridges and you keep from landing on the hot or the sticky or whatever tiles. You know, you just had to make it from point A to point B, and it got easier and easier and everything like that. Well, I do appreciate the compliments, but I might be a little bit old for you. So, yeah, I don't think that's going to work out. I try to be the cutest I can be, though. Even with a, what, half-foot long beard and... So anyway, we've got, let's see, general plot. So I guess 4 would be, I guess it would be basically like characters and characters' role in the plot, I guess. Easy, come on now. So specific, you know, characters and plot elements. We would go along with, you know, specific character down to like name. Let's put vital statistics. Statistics, S-T-A-T-S-T-I-C-S, vital statistics, name, age, date of birth, sign, astrological sign if we want, you know, hair color, ethnicity, you know, just certain things like that, you know, certain specifics, not story related. And then like you know, what role do they play in the story? You know, are they the antagonist, the protagonist, the how was I going to do that now? Probably don't even need to do that. What role they're going to play in the story, and to what extent, basically. Come on now. There we go. Yeah, I have an Xbox 360 that I bought off my cousin, but I don't use it to get online or anything, so I barely even play it. I think there's a handful of games for it that he sold me with it. Left 4 Dead 2, which was the reason why I bought it off him to begin with, because I like a lot of Valve's games, especially like Portal and Half-Life, so I kind of bought it off him just for that. Red Dead Redemption came with it, Castlevania came with it, and I think Driver 3 or one of the Driver games or something came with it. That he, you know, he sold the whole thing to me. He was going to turn around and sell it back to GameStop and use that money to go pick up another game, and I told him, well, if you're going to do that, I'll just pay you what they'd pay you for it, and then I'll hold on to it, you know. because I like games. I like collecting stuff. I've found a few games online on Amazon that I'd like to get. I think it's one of them's like We Love Katamari or something. One of the Katamari Dynasty games. There's a few others. People have been telling me to try Gears of War too. That it was a real good game. So, not really been much of a fan of the Halo thing, because I'm not really a big fan of first-person shooters. I like Doom and the Wolfenstein and the Duke Nukem 3Ds back in the day, but it was like after that, everything kind of... I played Black Ops 2, but Black Ops 2 was... It wasn't really a thing I'd pick up on my own. Me and my cousin would just play, and after a while, the game started getting old enough, and the servers got old enough, and the base group of players got old enough where they were starting to try to get away with more and more as far as modding and cheating and all that stuff goes, and toward the end it just became unplayable. I think you can still play it, but 9 times out of 10 you're going to go into a lobby where somebody's modded their stuff to where they've got Swarm, they've got, you know, a kill streak up at like 2 or 3 people, and they got the Swarm and all that stuff where they can just completely bomb the hell out of everybody. It's not worth playing anymore. I mean, unless you're with friends and you're in your own private lobby type deal, or maybe if you want to play against the bots. But yeah, I do have a 360. I really don't play it though. I don't have it on the truck with me here either. But let's see, what role do they play in the story? I would say, and to what extent, probably, because well, I guess role in the story would be self-explanatory as far as what they would do and how far they would go. Well, I got a phone call here. Let me type on a few things. Let me catch this call. Yeah, that was my cousin. He was calling me up. You might have seen him in the Super Mario mod hack game we played when the power was out when Hurricane Michael come through last month. He just called me, wished me a happy Thanksgiving, but then he noticed that I was live, and as soon as he dialed, he went, "Oh crap, he's live!" And so I'll talk to him here in a minute because I'm about done. This is really just kind of laying out the basics. So let's see. Vital statistics. What role do they play in the story? Let's see. What role do they play? Why do they play? You know, why, or more or less, what are their motivations? Because we could get to a point where somebody turns heel, somebody my nose is itching for some reason. Superstition is somebody's coming over to see me in this truck in Mississippi. I don't know why. But yeah, I mean, like, really, you know, are they just in it for money? Are they just in it for you know, for fame? Is there really a real reason why they've got to participate in this in this story, you know, things like that. So, let's see, what are their motivations? Hmm. Oh, maybe we should add in their backstory, which usually the backstory always ends up getting developed as it goes down the road, because you don't just open up your story with, you know, so and so appears on the screen and then you get a half an hour diatribe of how they grew up. It usually ends up evolving and revealing itself later on down the line. So yeah, character and backstory. Now the last thing that I wanted to touch on real quick, and this will all basically come to a it'll start getting done. It'll start getting evolved little bit by little bit. Right now, and I'm going to post this to the Discord too. Right now, we're only going to focus on number 1. And I've got only 1 vote so far for platformer, which is Nero. And that was even kind of a half enthusiastic. He just mentioned that it probably would be easier to make a platformer in this day. So I'm going to put him down for 1 for platformer unless he wants to change his mind. But right now, from the way it looks, even though it's only 1 input, 1 person, it looks like it might be a platformer. I'm going to leave my personal out of it, other than the fact that I would kind of rather make an RPG, but I'm going to wait until everybody casts their vote and see where it goes. Because if everybody wants to make a platformer, then we'll make a platformer. I'll use my idea that I've got for an RPG maybe later on in my own project, or maybe crowdsourcing again. We'll see how this particular thing goes. But number 5 is going to be gameplay and let's see, gameplay and mechanics. So basically, you know, what's going to be the gimmick of the game? Gimmicks, power-ups, I might even just stretch that out. And weapons, abilities. Well, I guess I'd have to add a number 6 for being the mobs, the in-game enemies, and then possibly then the bosses. So, you know, gameplay mechanics, gimmicks, power-ups, weapons, abilities, like I really wouldn't know anything specific. Well, see, you know, like if you remember the Mega Man game series, you always ended up absorbing or acquiring the weapon of the enemy you defeated. So eventually, at the end of the game, you had all these badass power-ups, and you still had your main weapon. Now, something like that we can't rip off. We can't really rip off or do anything like that, just because it's copyright infringement. like we don't need Capcom of Japan coming down on a little game streamer for some for some stealing of IP stuff. But you know, and the only other thing is we could possibly do something like that, but it's almost everything's been done already, so we really have to come up with a unique combination of things, a unique way of going about doing it. Like I said, in the RPG that I had an idea for, it wasn't necessarily going to be the characters, but it was going to be like a companion that does and has all the fighting and stuff, has all the abilities and stuff like that, and they were going to be interchangeable and all this other stuff. So, you know, something like that. And I really don't want to get. I'm still kind of giving some of it away, but I mean, even with a lot of those like run and gun type games, you get the power up, and if you get hit, you lose it type thing. So I mean, something like that wouldn't be. It's been done. It's been done many, many times before in many, many different games by many, many different publishers and creators. So, but that's one thing we'd all get together and try to figure out. Let's see. Gameplay and mechanics. I might as well do, while I'm thinking about it, why can't I speak? Enemies. These are mobs. Same thing, basically, you know. Oh yeah, I want to add, visual design to which, you know, a lot of that will come in time. Probably could put that there too. Visuals. I mean, all this is going to kind of, because I mean, there's going to be sound effects, and there's going to be, you know, specific weapons do what type of damage and how much, and what affects it, what nullifies it. There's going to be all this stuff. This is just a general outline. I could go back and keep going back, and I would never get done. So basically, enemies and mobs. Might as well kind of just do this, because that's really all I'm going to do. Bosses, same thing, really. That should be explanatory. Okay, so put caps lock on, because what we're not going to do, we're not going to rip off, yeah, other ideas from other games. Rod's references may be allowed. Ultra adult content, no, you know, explicit scenes. No explicit scenes. I think that's the way you spell heinous. No heinous crimes depicted. Like, we're not going to do things like cannibalism and necrophilia and all this other sick twisted shit that, you know, like serial killers and stuff. Like, I mean, I guess even in a way you could say that, you know, like stepping on an enemy would be considered murder. But I mean, that's kind of the point in the games. I mean, like, we're not going to be doing that real sick, twisted, dark side of storytelling type. Like I say, you know, we're not going to be doing the, you know, we might, there might be a case where there might have to be a robbery or a snatch and grab committed, maybe some vandalism, you know, some, might even be some, like, innocent or mischievous vandalism, not really just blatant, you know, just tear stuff up type stuff, but, I would say, like, mild drug use, but mild drug use, we're talking about, like, you know, cigarettes and you know, tobacco, you know, I can never remember to spell that. Alcohol, you know. Somebody might be drinking a beer or, you know, having a shot of bourbon or something. We're not going to be doing, like, you know, hard drugs, opiates, you know, I mean, depending, like, I don't consider, marijuana to be that hard or that bad of a drug, but nobody's going to be doing lines of cocaine, nobody's going to be shooting up heroin, nobody's going to be, you know, taking tabs of ecstasy and doing stupid crap. I mean, we're talking about, like, at worst, one of the characters, that's just what they do all the time, and, you know, part of the people might be, you know, having a cigarette in their hand or drinking coffee, or you might go somewhere and there might be people drinking type stuff. It's going to be in the as a matter of fact. This stream looked like it was doing some unauthorized activity there for a second. So, let's see. No. Because, I mean, right now, I want to keep everything kind of, you know, T for teen is basically what I'm shooting for. Because most of my viewers are in the age range of teenager anyway. You know, between the ages of, like, 12, 13, and, say, 18, 19... right there. That's where we're going to center everything, is in the teen range. Same thing with swearing. I mean, I know I swear, and I know you guys swear in the chat too and everything. But I pretty much won't be dropping the F-bomb in the game. There'll be no fucks. There may be a shit, but it's going to be very, very rare, and it's only going to be in an exceptional circumstance. There'll be hells and dams and asses and, you know, whatnot, and maybe somebody getting called a bitch, or, you know, something like that, you know, that's kind of that whole PG-13, but it's got to be kept down to a certain level as well. So, let's see, yeah. Um, teen, you know, that type of deal. Let's see. I'm gonna have to re-edit this to ideas or assets from other games blatantly. If you guys want to help, that's great, and I'll probably what's probably going to end up happening is you're going to get probably a few people that are going to like add a song, maybe add a little bit of voice acting, maybe get a suggestion or two for a story or a certain side story or whatever. But what I'm seeing is what I'm guessing is going to happen is there's probably going to be me and a main core team of about 4 other people, probably. It could be more, could be less, but that's the way I see it. It's going to be me in the center, kind of piecing everything together. 3 or 4 main collaborators, might be, you know, might be a few more. Main collaborators who are really making the bulk of the other content, and then like a whole other tier outside where people are just contributing like certain ideas and small one-off things, and maybe they might just have an idea for an enemy or something, and you know how it moves and what it looks like, and that's just their contribution. So what I don't want, and I'm going to try to source this for people to look at and to double check, do not blatantly rip off assets from other games. If I find it out, you will be off the team. I don't need that. I don't need people coming to me. I don't need a lawsuit. I don't need any of that stuff. We will make our own sprites from scratch through whoever wants to make them. If somebody really isn't good at sprite making but does visual, you know, does good like markup drawings, and somebody else can take those markup drawings and do, I mean, we can, you know, inner community, we can do all that. But there will not be any blatant ripping off of other games' assets. You can't just rip off a chocobo from Final Fantasy, you know, one of the Final Fantasy games, or an enemy from Castlevania. We're just not doing that. We're just not doing that at all. Let's see. Language kept language in. Well, I'll just put language in situations. Kept. See, so I think this is pretty much a good place to start. Let's see. Let's see. Nods or references may be allowed. Like, yeah. So, like, you know, I mean, say, you know, you're getting a mount or something, and somebody goes, "Oh, well, what's this?" So this is your mount, and oh, well, I guess, you know, it's no chocobo, but it'll do. We might make verbal nods or references, you know, like maybe, depending on what type of game it is, we're going to agree on. Sometimes making reference to outside things takes you out of the game entirely. And then other times it's just a good nod to things, but it just depends on what we're going to do and how we're going to do it. See, no heinous crimes depicted. I'm going to put in, Yeah, but no, yeah, no serial killer stuff. Language of situations. And now some of these things and a lot of these things may be subject to change depending on how, what, where, you know, all that. Looks like the stream health actually is not quite as good as it could be. But I'm gonna get ready and wrap this up, and I'm gonna post this to Discord. And yeah, so right now at the moment, this will be kind of the first stream in all this. So right now at the moment, we are just working on number one. The genre needs to be established. You can put your comments down in the description below, you know, further than my finger can reach. Put your suggestions down in the box below in the comments, or message me directly, or the better way is to get on Discord. We need more people on Discord. We only have 10 on there right now. Discord is going to be the bulk of where things are going to be done, where you can submit your suggestions and your work, where you can collaborate with people. I'm going to have a room set up for just general, like, you know, suggestions and putting things up. But a lot of the rooms that we're really going to be working on this stuff are going to be kind of locked down. I may have them to where you can actually see the progress, but if you're not really a like big contributor into the team, then you kind of won't be able to get in to edit a lot of this stuff. You'll be able to look and give suggestions in the other, and we'll probably accept it, but there is kind of going to be a tier type system to this too, depending on who's more serious and who's going to put in more time and effort. So anyway, I'm going to get ready and drop this off, and maybe I can get it about an hour. But join the Discord. Please join the Discord. This is where everything is going to happen for the most part, unless I do a few live streams here and there. So I'm just going to go ahead and do the deal. It's been Conspicuously Incredible Gaming with your host Mike. This has been a live, we're working on a game type stream, so this is the first in the mini-series. If you like what you see, check all the links below and join the Discord, Patreon, and you know, all that. So anyway, thank you and take care and have a good one. And I went back to the wrong one.